and today's lesson will be about how to introduce yourself, and we will look at different categories. We will look at how do you talk about your name, how do you talk about your occupation, how do you talk about your residence, your age, your birthplace, your birth date, and your marital status or relationship status. And then we talk about languages you speak, and we'll also be talking about your hobbies. And there are so many other things that you can say while introducing yourself, but today we will be just focusing on those. And if you have other questions or want to know how other things is spoken, you can ask me and I will be able to explain how that is spoken. So if no one has any question about the previous lesson or any other question before we start, I think we can go on and start. Okay, I think the silence says there is no problem. Also, I want to encourage you that as we go through the lessons, it's good for you to keep a notebook around you so that you can be noting some things down. You know, we are people and we forget. So I will be sharing this presentation that I'm using, but if you don't want to forget or want to make them a reference later, it's good to have somewhere to note what you're learning. So if we say how you say your name, then you will note it down and you can be able to review it later. And when you write things down, it's easier for you to remember because you have wrote something and you have used your hands to do it. So it's easier when you do that. So that's two things I wanted you to remind you. If you want, if you don't want, it's okay. But for your goodness, if you want to be able to run this faster, I encourage you to do that. Keep some notebook around and note things down so that you don't forget. So I'm going to share the screen. And, yeah, so when we present, so today's lesson is introducing oneself. This too should not be there, introducing oneself. So in Kinyarwanda we call this kwiranga, which means talking about who you are or telling people about you. So this is introduction to oneself or introducing oneself. So I don't know about the title, just let's start. So the first thing that people need to know about you is your name. So we'll start with how you talk about your name. And in Kinyarwanda, when we say a name, it's called izina. I'm sure that if you know Swahili, it's jina. If I'm correct, it's jina. So in Kinyarwanda, it's izina, which translates to a name. So when you want to ask someone how they are called, you can say witwa nde, or what's your name, witwa nde. And in this question, witwa nde, you will find that it does not include the word, the name, but this is how you ask someone what their name is. It comes from the verb that is called kwitwa, or being named. So kwitwa, and then you ask witwa nde. This nde is a question that is used mostly to ask who. Witwa, you are named who. So it's like asking what's your name. So witwa nde. And if you want to be polite, we saw that when we are being polite in Kinyarwanda, we used to put things in the plural. So that's why when you say Witwande, you are saying what's your name, but when you say Mngitwa Bande, you're putting it in the plural, which becomes more polite. And then to answer, you say my name is, this is English, and then in Kinyarwanda you say Nitwa, then you add your name. Nitwa Songa, Nitwa Ruvimbo, Nitwa Philomena, Nitwa Atahiru. So you will, if you want to say your name, you say Nitwa and then you add your name. If you want to ask someone what's your name, you say Witwande. There are other ways you can ask this, or like asking izina ryawe ni irihe, but this one is more common and I didn't want to confuse you. This is simple and everyone can understand what you're asking for. Witwande. You can try to repeat this. Witwande. Most people will say Witwande, Witwande, since it's T and W, so it's Witwande. So that's the first one, and then Mwitkwabande is a plural version of this one. Then if you're going to reply, you will say Nitwa, Nitwa Songa, Nitwa whatever your name is, Nitwa, and then you add your name. So you can try to add your name and try to say Nitwa and then you add your name. This is how we talk about our names when you want to tell people your name or when you want to ask someone their name. So this is to ask, then this is to, this is to ask, and then this is to reply. So if you want to ask people what their name is, what's your name, Witwande, and if you want to say what's your name is, you will say my name is. So here I added this translation, name is izina in Kinyarwanda. If no one has a question here, we can move to the second one, and we'll come back later doing an activity about this. But as I asked you, kindly please try to make some notes down so that you don't forget. Even if I ask you and you look at your notes, it's okay, as long as you can be able to repeat whether you're looking somewhere or not. So this is the first one. Then the second one will be about occupation. What do you do? What do you do? So occupation in Kinyarwanda, it's called umurimo. Umurimo is what you do, or occupation, but it can also be called akazi. You know, in Swahili it's kazi, then in Kinyarwanda it's akazi. Akazi, I didn't write it somewhere, but umurimo will also do it. So it's occupation or umurimo or akazi. So if you hear people saying akazi, if you hear people saying umurimo, you will know they're talking about occupation. So I didn't write akazi anywhere, but I hope you understand how akazi is written or pronounced, so that you know what you are talking about. So when you want to ask someone what do you do in Kinyarwanda, you will say ukora iki, ukora iti, or you might say ukora iki. Some people say it like that, but it's ukora iki. As you've seen in the previous video or in the previous class, I told you that when you are using K or G combined with a vowel I, we use ki. It's like ki and Y, I guess. Ki. So ukora iti, and then if you want to be polite, you say mukora iti, or putting this in the plural. So what do you do in Kinyarwanda? I say ukora iti, or mukora iti being in the plural but also polite. So this is how you ask people what they do. Ukora iti, mukora iti. So then they can reply like this. I am, maybe I'm a nurse, I am a software engineer, I am a teacher, I am whatever, I'm a pilot, whatever they can be. They say I am and then add their occupation, whatever that is. So when you want to use this way, maybe you want to say I am a tourist, you say ndi. This one, I am, in Kinyarwanda it's ndi. I am, in Kinyarwanda it's ndi. Then you add your occupation. Let's say if you want to say a teacher in Kinyarwanda it's mwalimu, or mwalimu in Swahili, I don't know. There are so many words that are like Swahili. So if you want to say I am a teacher, I would say ndi mwalimu. If you want to say I am a doctor, ndi muganga. Muganga is a doctor. If you want to say I am a software engineer, I don't think it has a meaning in the Kinyarwanda, but you can say ndi. Okay, I don't know how to say that in Kinyarwanda. Maybe you'll find a word for it. You can say I am. So basically, what I'm trying to say is you use this I am, and then it is followed by the occupation that you have. If you are a driver, ndi umushoferi. Driver is umushoferi in Kinyarwanda. I will give you a list of occupations. Let me see if I have it here. So this is the document that I shared with you. I'll give you this again as the link. So here we have occupation, what you do, which is kwigisha or teaching, and then a person in occupation is called mwalimu or a teacher. Kuvura or to treat, and the person who do that is called muganga or a doctor. We have guchimanza or judging in court, where we will be having the person called umucamanza or a judge. So you will see this. We have a list of occupations here. It's not all occupations. I just try to add the ones that are common. So I'll give you this document so that you can look at this and be able to say ndi muganga, ndi umucamanza, ndi umubaji. Umubaji is a carpenter, umushoferi, a driver, umwavoka or a lawyer is umwavoka, accountant, umuchunga mutungo. Then we have a nurse, umuforomo, if it's a man, and then if it's a woman, say umuforomokazi. If it's a man, it's umuforomo. If it's a woman, it's umuforomokazi. Umupolisi or policeman, and umusirikare, a soldier. We have a journalist, umunyamakuru, umucuranzi, musician. I'll give you this list so that you can look at it. I'm sure you can see that I have added different names of the occupations and the people who occupy those occupations. So you will be able to know which one you belong to. If you cannot find yours, kindly let me know so I can add it on this list for you to be able to say that I can do this. So is this good? If you find it good, just do this and we'll continue to the next one. Any reaction so that we can move on? I hope I'm not alone.
Yeah, you can move on. I think this is okay.
Okay, so I was talking about how you talk about your occupation using ndi or I am, and you can also use this one. I work at the hospital. I work at the district office. I work at Norsken. I work at whatever you work at. So you can use this one, or you can say I work in the factory. So that's why I added multiple ways you can say this in Kinyarwanda. We have I work in, I work at, I work on. There's so many ways you can say it in English, which is the same in Kinyarwanda. So let's say you want to say I work at, or mora. I work is mora. So when you say I work in Kinyarwanda, it's mora, and then you add where I work. So if you were talking about at, I work at So nkora kwa, maybe you work at the doctor's office. Nkora kwa muganga. You use this kwa. I added this here so that it can explain where you use this. You use kwa if you are mentioning the employer's name or employer's title. Let's say I work at the policeman's home, maybe nkora kwa polisi. And you use muri or kuri if you are talking about the place of employment. Let's say you work in accounting, or you work let me find another occupation where you can be working. Mora, I work. Okay, I cannot find this, but next time I'll be putting examples so that you don't lose examples. But use kuri muri when you are mentioning the place of employment or the type of the occupation that you are working on. Let's again use this example. If you want to say nkora, maybe you work in accounting, nkora mu gucunga imari. So that's one thing you can say. Nkora mu buhinzi. So ubuhinzi is farming. This is a verb, but again it can be called ubuhinzi. Let me add it here. Ubuhinzi, which is farming or agriculture, and then you can say nkora mu buhinzi. So this is other ways you can use this. I will give you this list of occupations so that you can know how you will use this. But this nkora means I work, at is kwa, and then in muri or on kuri. So if something can be talked about using on, then you use kuri. If it's in, it's muri. Or sometimes you not add this li, you just say ku or mu and don't add this li. But for most time you'll find that you will be using it. So we take some examples of the occupations that we can use while we're introducing ourselves. So again, we saw that when you're asking someone what they do, you use ukola iti or mukola iti. And then if you're going to reply, you say ndi or nkora kwa muri or kuri. So another thing that you want to introduce is your residence, where you live, where you are. Sorry. So you want to tell people where you live, or aho utuye. Aho utuye means where you live. This aho means where, and then utuye means you live. So where you live, this is the residence. So do we want to, okay, sorry, I'm not sharing this one. This is it, you can see it now. So aho utuye, or a residence. So this aho means where, and this utuye means you live. So where you live, this is the residence. And when you want to ask someone where do you live in Kinyarwanda, you will be asking utuye he. Utuye he. You live. This utuye, again I said it means you live. Then he means where, but in a question. So this he, you will see it most of the times when you're asking about a place. He, utuye he, uba he, or this can also be you live where do you live, uba he or utuye he. But the difference is that they come from different verbs. So this utuye comes from the verb gutura, which means to live somewhere, and this uba comes from the verb kuba, which can be verb to be, but it can also mean to live somewhere. So don't get confused. So you can use any of this if you're asking someone where they live or where they reside. So these two will also make sense to someone who is from Rwanda or anyone who understands Kinyarwanda. So you can say utuyehe or ubahe if you are asking where someone lives, and you can use mutuyehe or mubahe if you are putting this in plural. So this is how to say where do you live, and then you can reply with I live in or at wherever you live. So let's say you live in Kigali, you say I live in Kigali, Ntuye. This Ntuye means I live. Then you can use these different we call them indangahantu in Kinyarwanda, which means they will show us the places. So if you say Ntuye in Kigali, you are using this I. Ntuye mu majyaruguru. Majyaruguru means the northern province. So Ntuye mu majyaruguru. Ntuye ku Muhima. You know Muhima. So if you are saying Muhima, you cannot say Imuhima. That doesn't make sense. I guess we'll look at different places and how you will address them. So we say Ntuye, then you add one of these and you add the location of where you live. Let's say Ntuye Kicukiro. Some places will not need for you to add any of this, but you can add Ntuye muri Kicukiro. Okay, so for now let's remove this. If you want to say Ntuye Kigali, that will make sense. So if this is confusing you, you can remove it for now. Then we'll learn later how to accurately put it on the place that you want to mention. I'm talking about this I, MU, and KU. So for now you can leave it out and say Ntuye. If you are living in Zimbabwe, Ntuye Zimbabwe, someone will understand what you mean. And if you are talking about Ntuye Majyaruguru, and that will also make sense. So we add this later, not now. So if you want to ask someone where do you live, you will say ubahe or utuye. I think I used this. There is these videos that I made on the channel that I shared, and I was using songs. I think one of the songs has this in it, so we check it out. So now let's go to your age. How do you say your age in Kinyarwanda? How do you say how old you are? You will be using this age is called imyaka in Kinyarwanda. Imyaka, but imyaka can also mean years, or it can also mean the produce from agriculture. So if you go to places where there are farmers, they will be using the word imyaka to mean the plants or the crops that they have planted. They be referring to it as imyaka. If you find somewhere that mostly young people they are eating, they will be saying which can be another meaning to eat, or imyaka. They are using imyaka to refer to food, but we are not using this imyaka that refers to that. We are using imyaka that refers to the age. If you are counting years, we also have to use imyaka. But when you ask someone ufite imyaka ingahe, again, ufite or mufite imyaka ingahe, ingahe. So this hey, you have seen it somewhere. This is used to ask a question, and here we used it to ask where someone lives, and here we are using it to ask how old you are. So mufite imyaka ingahe. So we go to the negatives and interrogation later in this series of classes, but here we are asking how old someone is. So ufite imyaka ingahe. Ufite, this means you have. Imyaka, age, how many. Ingahe means how many. So how many years or age do you have? So how many years do you have? How old are you? Ufite imyaka ingahe? And then to reply, you will say, I am, this is in English, I am 20 years old. Ufite imyaka makumyabiri. So these are different ways that you can say it. Again, I don't know if you know to count numbers. Do you know how to count numbers? I think you don't. Let me see.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so we'll get to that later about counting years. I was finding, but it's also in this document. We'll get to it, but if you want to look at the quick numbers, we can check here. So I have added also these basic numbers in this document I've shared with you. If you gave me your email, I've shared it. But if you haven't, I can reshare it. I will share it on your email. So I have added basic numbers here, but what we are doing here is you ask someone, ufite imyaka ingahe? And then someone reply, or you will reply, ufite imyaka, and then they add a number. If you want to say one in Kinyarwanda is limwe, but you cannot say mfite imyaka rimwe. You will say mfite imyaka, let's say imyaka, that's very singular. The imyaka is in plural. If you want to put it in singular, you will say umwaka. That's in singular. So if you had 1 year, that's very singular. So we have to say mfite umwaka umwe. If you have 5 years, 5 in Kinyarwanda is gatanu. So if you want to say mfite imyaka itanu, so it's tanu, and then you add, it's also almost like you add this I, the imyaka itanu, the imyaka. If you have 100 years, 100 is ijana. So if you want to add the age and you have 100 years, you say mfite imyaka ijana. So just to mention the years that you have or the age that you have. So just keep this in mind, and then we'll have to look at the years separately for you to know how many years you have. So you say mfite imyaka cumi, that's 10, and then nitanu, that's an example, 15. Cumi nitanu is 15. Mfite imyaka mirongo itatu, that's 30. So if you have 50 years, 50, that is mirongo itanu. So if you are saying mfite imyaka mirongo itatu, that's 30 years. If you have 32, that's mirongo itatu na kabiri, mirongo itatu n'ibiri. So we will count about this later. Let's just keep this in mind. Ufite imyaka ingahe, ufite imyaka, and then we add your numbers. Then let's come to the origin. So I have here two things. I have added the birthplace and then your origin. They are almost the same things, but I wanted to do this to mention, let's say you are in the country, but you are not from the country, and someone is asking, where do you come from? Where are you coming from? Maybe you are coming from Tunisia, you're coming from Uganda, you're coming from anywhere that is not Rwanda, and then they can know that you're not from Rwanda, and they ask, where are you from? And then you would respond, I'm from maybe Kenya, I'm from Zimbabwe, I'm from South Africa. So those are different examples where you can use this. So we can say, where do you come from? Uturukahe. Uturukahe means comes from the verb guturuka, which means to come from. So when someone asks uturukahe, this is again, you see this he, it's again being used to ask a question. So uturukahe, it means where do you come from, or where are you coming from? Where are you from? So uturukahe, and then when you're going to answer, you say nuruka. And nuruka, again, these are the different texts that will show where you come from. But for now, let's again omit this. You can say nuruka muri America, nuruka I Kigali, nuruka muri Kenya, nuruka muri South Africa, nuruka muri Nigeria, nuruka muri Somalia. You can say so many countries here. You can say I think this muri will work on so many occasions. I cannot find where I will use this I, but this nuruka will work mostly with muri, but kuri and I will also work on some cases. We have to look at that. So for now, you can use muri on anything, I guess. Nuruka muri Zimbabwe, nuruka muri which other country? Nuruka muri Togo, nuruka muri any country. I think this muri will work. So if someone asks uturukahe, which means where are you from, you can say I am from, or nuruka muri, then you add your country or your city if it's the one that is known, that they can know. So this is used when you want to say I am from. Where do you come from? I am from. So uturukahe, nuruka muri, or and you add where you come from. So this is where you say where you are coming from. So then let's talk about the birthplace. The birthplace is where you were born. Where you were born, it might be different from where you are coming from. It might be different from where you are living now. Maybe you were born in Burundi, you were born in Rwanda, and then you went and lived in, I see many people lived in Belgium for years, and now you are coming to Rwanda again. They ask, where are you coming from? You're coming from Belgium. Where were you born? I was born in Rwanda. So that's a different case. So if you say, where were you born? You are saying wavutiyehe. Wavutiyehe. This means wavutiye comes from the verb kuvuka, which means to be born. To be born. Kuvuka. Kuvuka means to be born. So when someone asks wavutiyehe, it means where were you born? So this is the question, where were you born? And then you say, I was born in or at. And this translates to navutiye muri or kuri or I, whatever it is. So that's for me an example. I was born in the north, so navutiye mu majyaruguru in Gicumbi specifically. So I was born in Gicumbi. Navukiye i Gicumbi. So I was born in Gicumbi. Navukiye i Gicumbi. You can say navukiye i Kigali, navukiye i Musanze, navukiye which other state do I know? Muri Nairobi, navukiye muri Harare. Is it Harare? So you can mention so many places here. It depends on the place where we're born. So you say navukiye muri. We talk about different scenarios where this can be used. But navukiye, if you are not sure which one to use, you can omit it for now and then say navukiye Kigali, navukiye Majyaruguru, navukiye whatever it is, so that people can understand what you mean, and we will learn how to use this later once we have different vocabularies on how they can be used. So we were talking about your birthplace, which is wavutiye, and then you say navutiye muri, kuri, or I, or you can remove this for now and then add your birthplace. So now let's talk about your birth date. If you're going to talk about your birth date, you're going to talk about the date on which you were born. So, or your birthday, if you want to say it like that, your birthday. When were you born? Wavutse ryari. So wavutse ryari means when were you born. So again, you see here we said wavukiye he, and here we say wavutse ryari. They all come from the same verb, which is kuvuka, or to be born, but the questions are different. So here we are asking ryari, which means when, and then we are talking about wavutse ryari, when were you born? And then you can say I was born on maybe 17th of January, I was born on 20th of February, I was born on whatever date. So I was born on, and then you add your date. And here in Kinyarwanda we say navutse ku itariki. Itariki means a date, and ku means on. So navutse, I was born on the date, and then you mention the date. Navutse ku itariki. Let's say again we come to the numbers. We say navutse ku itariki icumi. Icumi means 10 of January. January is Mutarama in Kinyarwanda. So I will give you the list of months. Let me see if I have it in this document. Mutarama. Okay, I do have it here. So here we have a list of months in Kinyarwanda that you can reference to if you want to know which months. We have Mutarama, this is January. We have Gashyantare, February. We have Werurwe for March, and then Nyakanga for July. We are now in Kanama, August, and then September is Nzeri. So you can use this to mention the date on which you were born. Someone asks wavutse ryari, and then you say navutse ku itariki icumi. That means 10th or 10 of August. August, we saw that it's Kanama. So you say navutse ku itariki icumi Kanama. Then you say the number of the year, or don't say it. Since you're talking about birthday, you can just say the date and the month. And then let's move to the marital status. This is where you say, are you married? Are you not married? Are you widowed? Are you so these kind of things. So what we say is, are you married? Maybe this is a question someone asks. Are you single? So in Kinyarwanda we can say warashyingiwe. Warashyingiwe comes from the verb gushyingirwa, which means to marry. So when someone says warashyingiwe, it means they're asking, are you married? And they might say uri ingaragu. Ingaragu in Kinyarwanda is someone who is single. So ingaragu. Or if someone says uri, means are you, or you are, depending on what comes after. If there is a question, that means are you, and if there is no question, if there is maybe a full stop, that will be you are. So now we are saying uri ingaragu. That means are you single? So we have seen warashyingiwe, which means are you married? Then we can see uri ingaragu, are you single? These are different questions that someone can ask. Or people might ask, ufite umugabo cyangwa umugore? If you are a man, they will ask ufite umugore. I've made a mistake here. This is one of them is umugore, which means a woman. So let me correct it now. I don't want to confuse you. Umugore. So they will ask, are you single? Or uri ingaragu. Uri ingaragu means are you single? Warashyingiwe, are you married? And then they will ask ufite umugabo. This will be asked to a woman. because umugabo is a husband. So if they ask, do you have a husband? Ufite means do you have a husband, umugabo. Or umugore means a wife. So if they ask, do you have ufite umugore? That means do you have a wife? So in that case, maybe you can say yes or no. As we have seen in the previous class, we saw that yego means yes. And if you want to say no, you say oya. Oya means no. When you say oya, you're saying no. So they will ask ufite umugabo or ufite umugore, and then you will say yes or no. But they might ask uri ingaragu. If you are ingaragu, if you are single, you can say yes or no. They ask warashyingiwe, are you married? Then you can say yes or no. But there are other answers that you can give if you want to be maybe confirm. I am married. I'm married. That means narashyingiwe. You are confirming this. There is no question. You are adding a full stop. Narashyingiwe. That means I am married. Or you can say ndi ingaragu. Ndi ingaragu. This you can use it maybe if you are being asked for your CV. I saw some people add this on their CV. They say single. So if you are trying to write your CV in Kinyarwanda, you can say ndi ingaragu, or on the marital status in Kinyarwanda they will add ingaragu, and then you can tick on that one if you are trying to say that you are single. And or you can say mfite umugabo if you are a woman. This means I have a husband. Or you can say mfite umugore if you are a man, which means I have a wife. So this umugabo means a husband and umugore means wife. So you can use any of this to say that you are married or you are single. So I think we have gone through most of it. Let's see. The one that is left is ururimi or language. A language is ururimi in Kinyarwanda, but ururimi can also mean tongue. So when you say tongue, it's said as ururimi in Kinyarwanda, but also language is ururimi. So ururimi is tongue, but it's also language. So when you ask people, or when people ask you which languages do you speak, they will ask uvuga izihe ndimi. So when you are putting ururimi in plural, you are saying indimi. That's ururimi in plural. You say indimi. So when you say which languages do you speak, uvuga it's you speak, and then izihe which, and then indimi languages. You speak which languages. So when you put it together, it becomes which languages do you speak? Or uvuga izihe ndimi. Uvuga izihe ndimi. And then you can say I speak mvuga. Let's say I speak English and Kinyarwanda. Mvuga icyongereza. Icyongereza is English. That's how we say it in Kinyarwanda. Mvuga icyongereza n'ikinyarwanda. Ikinyarwanda, that's our language, Kinyarwanda. This one we are learning. And then I'll say mvuga icyongereza n'ikinyarwanda. If you speak French is igifaransa. So you say mvuga igifaransa, icyongereza n'ikinyarwanda. If you speak Chinese is igishinwa. So if you speak Chinese, you say mvuga igishinwa, icyongereza n'ikinyarwanda n'igifaransa. So you are talking about different languages. Or if you speak one language, you can say mvuga ikinyarwanda and just end there. You don't have to add other things. So when you say mvuga, it means I speak English, French, and all that. You say mvuga, and then you add the language that you speak. So if you speak English, you say mvuga. If you don't know the name of the language in Kinyarwanda, you can say mvuga English. I think many people understand that. So I think I also have the list of languages. I will check let's be fast because time is running out. And then you can say mvuga, and then you add the name of the language that you speak. So the next one is hobbies, which is the last but not the least. So hobbies are the things that interest you. I'm not sure if there is an exact word in Kinyarwanda, but I tried to find the name which comes from which comes from the word interest. So what interests you? So when we say hobbies, someone will ask, what are your hobbies? Ni ibiki bigushishikaza? Ni that means it's ibiki means what, then bigushishikaza means interest you. So it's what interests you, or if you put it together, what interests you. So that's the exact meaning I can find, not the exact one, but it can help you explain what are your hobbies. And then you can say my hobbies are, or ibinchishikazani, let's say playing music or listening to music. Listening to music is kumva umuziki. You can say playing piano, that's gucuranga. Playing piano, that's gucuranga. You can say watching football, kureba umupira. You can say and another interest I have is maybe traveling, kutembera. Traveling is kutembera in Kinyarwanda. You can say another interest you have is watching movies. Watching movies is kureba filime or kureba cinema in Kinyarwanda. So you will choose the one that interests you, and then you will say that. Maybe I can also make a list of hobbies and translate them so that you know which one you choose. And there are so many different hobbies. So you will say, someone will ask you, ni ibiki bigushishikaza, and then you say ibinshishikaza ni gukina umupira, playing football. Ibinshishikaza ni gucuranga, to play piano or any instrument. And then so you will be able to explain ibinshishikaza. So that's how we say what interests you. So am I still with you where we are now? Don't know if I still have you.
Yeah, we're still together.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we are going to go to an activity. And in this activity, I will ask you to tell us who you are. Maybe if you remember anything in what you have done, just use it to tell us who you are. Maybe tell us your name and tell us your occupation. And yeah, I guess that will be enough. Tell us your name and your occupation, and use any other one you remember. So that's the activity of today. I'm waiting for you.
Okay. So can I go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Nitska Jibril. Ndi students. Ntuye Kigali. Yeah, I think I don't know if I tried.
Yeah, you tried, but umunyeshuri, I mean students in Kinyarwanda is umunyeshuri.
Munyeshuri.
Yeah, umunyeshuri. So
Munyeshuri.
You can start again.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm trying to get that down.
Umunyeshuri.
Okay, so yeah. So Nitska Jibril. Ndi munyeshuri. Ntuye i Kigali, Rwanda. Nturuka muri Nigeria.
It's very nice. That's very nice. Yeah. When
Yeah,
you are
thank you.
saying when you are saying Ntuye, you can try to you're saying Ntuye, so that's also true. But try to say Ntuye, Ntuye,
Okay, yeah.
Ntuye, so that T can be understood.
Okay, yeah.
Ntuye. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Bimbo, do you want to try?
Yes. So, nitwe Rulimbo, ndi umuchungatonga accountant.
Sorry?
Is that the pronunciation? Ndi umuchungatonga
You are
for
an
accountant.
accountant?
Yes.
Umuchunga mutungo. That's a long word.
Umuchunga nguchunga.
Umuchunga mutungo. Let me write it here. Umuchunga mutungo. Umuchunga mutungo. You can see it in the chat.
Okay. So ndi umuchunga mutungo. Okay. And then navukiye muri Zimbabwe. And then like Mbuga Shona in English.
Shona in English. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's really nice. I'm sure that's the way we are starting today and the way you can be able to introduce yourself now. If you go and keep trying to introduce yourself, I give you this PowerPoint after this call, and today I made sure that I record this video and record everything. I'll share it and then you can review it. And if you are able to introduce yourself, at least say the things that you have learned about, I'm sure that it will be a good start for you. So the way you are able to introduce yourselves, I'm sure it's a very good start. And next time we'll learn about something about normal conversations. Maybe something you can, if you meet someone for the first time, how you can have a conversation with them. So we will try to go one step by one step, so that you will be adding something to something. So go and try, which is what I put in this exercise. Okay. I was trying to give you an example of what how I would introduce myself. So I'm going to come to this. Let me finish what I was saying. I was saying that the this call, kindly go and try. If you want to have, if you go and think that you have got to some level, you can text me on WhatsApp and have a conversation and see where you are getting. If you need any support, just contact me on WhatsApp. I'll try to be as responsive as I can so that I can help you be able to speak. Yeah, so if you need help, just let me know. So in this one was the thing that I wanted to give you as an example. So this is my introduction. So Nitwa Songa. Nitwa, this is the one we saw the first. Nitwa, my name is Songa. Ndi Rwiyemezamirimo. So I am Rwiyemezamirimo. Rwiyemezamirimo means an entrepreneur or someone who is starting a business or have a business. So Rwiyemezamirimo is an entrepreneur. So I am entrepreneur. Ntuye, I live in Kigali. Ntuye i Kigali. Mfite imyaka. I am 22 years old. Navukiye i Gicumbi. I was born in Gicumbi. and navutse ku itariki 17 z'ukwa mbere. I was born on 17th of January. Mutarama is January, and I am single, the ingaragu. So ingaragu means someone who is not married, and mvuga icyongereza n'ikinyarwanda. I speak English and Kinyarwanda, and nshishikazwa no kumva umuziki. So my interest is listening to music, or my hobby is listening to music. So this is basically what we have learned today. If you can be able to introduce yourself like this next time, I think it will be a very good progress. You will be able to go in front of people and introduce yourself. Nitwa izina ryawe, then you say, I was born here, I'm from here, I live here, I was born on this date, I'm single, I'm married, I speak these languages, and I like this and this. So if you use this, I'm sure that you have a very good time. It will be easier for you to learn the next things. So that's why I try to make these classes very simple and bring very few things to learn, so that when we come the next time, we have grasped this and we can start a new topic. So after this, I want you to go and create your introduction like this one. Go and create your introduction like this one. If you write it somewhere, or if you do it anyhow, I don't know how you do it. And then after writing it down, you will be repeating it, so that next time when we start the class, everyone will have to introduce themselves in the way that we have just learned. So the next time, please come ready, and please come with your introduction. Whether you write it and read it, I don't know how you'll do it, or if you go and repeat it, you go and memorize it, or you go and try to understand it. Whatever you do, next time, before we start, everyone have to introduce themselves with the same introduction as the one that we have just learned. So I will share this PDF after this course, so that you know what we will do next time, and you go and get ready. So next, it's the resources. The resources, I did share some today, and then I shared the dictionary. If you have a Windows laptop or Windows computer, you can download the software that I shared and install it. It has the dictionary that will have many words that you need. And I have also wanted to share the blog article, but I was not able to publish it. I will try to publish both of them this weekend. And then I had a video here. It's a video I made. It doesn't follow any order. It was not prepared. I was just making random videos on Kinyarwanda. You can go and try this one. You can go and watch this one. I made it 3 years ago. So it's a video that
Hi.
it's about introducing yourself. Maybe I said something in the video that I didn't mention here. If you follow the video, you might be able to find something. So go and try this, and then by the next time we meet, you will have a good understanding of introduction in Kinyarwanda. So I want to give you this time. If you have a question, if you have anything to ask, if you have anything to mention, if you have any feedback on how we have done for the past 2 weeks, or how we can do better next time, just this is the time for you to tell me, so that the next class will be even better than this.
I think I don't have anything. I think this is really good. Thank you. Murakobe. Yeah.
Urakoze nawe. Okay. So if no one has any other question, then I will remind you, please go and create your introduction that is just like how we have learned it. And then the next time we meet, you will be having your introduction, and before we start the class, you will use it to introduce yourself. So if nothing else, I wish you having a wonderful week, and I will see you next week.